Surah Al-Qari'ah. Learning Objectives. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my friends. How are you? It's great to see you again. Today our lesson will be about a beautiful surah from the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Qari'ah. Let's begin. We have come to understand that Allah Almighty created us to worship Him and sent us messengers to teach and direct us on the proper way to do so. Additionally, Allah Almighty sent the messengers to teach us how to avoid His wrath so that we don't end up among the people of hellfire. Allah Almighty has also informed us through His noble messengers, peace be upon Him, that He will end the entire world on the day known as the Day of Judgment. Surah Al-Qari'ah is one of the noble chapters in which Allah has informed us about the Day of Judgment, reminding us not to forget preparing for this great day. Now let's understand and interpret the meaning of Surah Al-Qari'ah. Allah Almighty says, the striking disaster. In this verse, Allah Almighty swears by the Day of Judgment. Al-Qari'ah, also called the striking disaster, is one of many names for the Day of Judgment. It's called the striking disaster because this day strikes terror into hearts with events, causing fear that feels like the heart is splitting and prevents it from sleeping. The whole world will shake with the terrifying event of the Day of Judgment. Allah Almighty then says, what is the striking disaster? The events of this day are very important and very dangerous for those who have not prepared by doing good deeds and drawing near to Allah Almighty by fasting, praying, staying away from hypocrisy, and doing other things that Allah Almighty loves and is pleased with. In the third verse, Allah Almighty says, and what will make you realize what the striking disaster is? In this verse, Allah Almighty addresses the Prophet, peace be upon him, informing him that he knows nothing about the horrors of this day. Allah Almighty is the only one who knows about this great day, and no one else knows about its extremely challenging events. Next, Allah Almighty says, it is the day people will be like scattered moths. This verse states that on the Day of Judgment, people will be so terrified that they will scatter like fluttering moths everywhere. Allah Almighty says, and the mountains will be like carded wool. On the Day of Judgment, the mountains will be like the wool of livestock, flying and scattered all around with the wind. We ask Allah Almighty to make us among those who survive the events of the Day of Judgment. Allah Almighty then says, so as for those whose scale is heavy with good deeds, they will be in a life of bliss. This means that those who survive the terrors of Judgment Day are those whose good deeds outnumber their bad deed. They will therefore be among the people of bliss, who will dwell in paradise. We ask Allah Almighty to make us among them. Allah Almighty says, and as for those whose scale is light, their home will be the abyss. The people of hellfire are those whose sins outweigh their good deeds. May Allah protect us from that fate, and from and everything that could lead us in that direction. Allah Almighty also says, and what will make you realize what that is? It is a scorching fire. The hellfire awaiting those whose sins outweigh their good deeds is blazing and never extinguishes. May Allah protect us all from it. We have learned from Surah Al-Qari'ah that the Day of Judgment is a great day that strikes terror into hearts. On that day, people will be scattered, fluttering moths, and the mountains will be like wool that flies and scatters with the wind. We've also learned that whoever has more good deeds than sins is among the people of paradise. As for those whose sins outweigh their good deeds, they are among the people of hellfire. The hellfire is a blazing fire that never extinguishes. May Allah protect us all from it and make us among the people of paradise without reckoning or prior punishment. May Allah, the Lord of all worlds, accept our prayers.